What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Sox and 4 podcast. I'm your only host today, Brandon Watabi, making my long-awaited return, comeback, whatever you want to call it. So before we get started, we are brought to you by Ride the Wave Media, and 1 in 100 is the only online raffle website giving fans and experience seekers the chance to win tickets to live sporting events, concerts, music festivals, and more, whether it be from your desktop or mobile device. Winning tickets to your favorite events has never been so easy and fun. Choose your desired event, purchase a raffle ticket into the draw, and you can be the lucky winner. So one of the things about 1 in 100 is really special. You see the Spike King out at the Patriots' 4th preseason game today with Roby, who won free tickets to this event. Didn't even have to pay for the raffle ticket because the first entry with 1 in 100 is free, and that's really fun. So she got to go to this game, enjoy for free, even though the Giants ended up winning it, having that crazy comeback. It was still a great experience that they get to go see. It's a lot of fun. But, yeah, happy to be back on Sox and 4. It's just me today. All the guys are busy tonight, and we got a lot to talk about. So I've been gone the entire summer. A lot of things happening. I was working in Colorado, right where the Red Sox actually just finished the 2-game series with the Rockies. I was a backpacking guy. Ask me about it if you want to. But we're here for the Red Sox news, and so it was a interesting thing this summer because I wasn't able to keep up with the Sox. I was like out in the wilderness. I wasn't able to be on my phone all the time. I wasn't able to listen to the games or watch all the games. Had no idea if what was happening, if we were succeeding, if we were in the playoff picture, if we were beating the Yankees in the division, or what was going on. But when I got back, I would hear news on the weekends eventually about what was going on with the Red Sox, if we're beating, who we're losing to, and we did a lot of losing this summer. Let me tell you. I think one of the highlights was I got to watch the highlights for that London series, and that was pretty cool. Even against the Yankees, how the series didn't go very, very well at all. It was a lot of mashing. Both sides were mashing. I don't think we won either of the games. It's so long ago now. But just the mashing, and we got to see the fans in London, the people actually showed up, and what it would look like to actually have games out there more often and have these international series overseas, like how we've been in Puerto Rico, in Mexico, and maybe even Canada one day. And we got the Sox and Yankees playing in London nowadays. But one of the things I want to talk about is the idea of the designated to free agency. As our boy Eduardo Nunez was this summer, and it's really heartbreaking when this happens. A few notable guys, this happens to the fan favorite players. So it's most recently Eduardo Nunez, and then Blake Swihart earlier in the season, and then even last season how Hanley Ramirez was DFA'd mid-season. And it's just one of the heartbreaking things. As a fan, even though as fans you can't really do anything about it, DFA just kind of. You're not always expecting it. It can kind of come out of nowhere. And you see with Hanley Ramirez, DFA'd, and everyone's like, what's going on? This guy, he can hit. He's a locker room guy. He's fun to talk to. He's character. He's got great personality. Or Blake Swihart, how he's a first-round pick and just not living up to his potential in the big leagues yet. And we just Sox weren't able to ever really figure out what to do with him and what to spend his talent on. And then this season, I'm not sure how long ago, but Eduardo Nunez. I was at Game 1 of the World Series last year, and when Eduardo Nunez came in to pinch hit and hit that 3-run home run, and I swear, it's my favorite memory is when he's turning around first and he's pointing out towards the stands. Swear he was pointing right at my section. I know he's pointing straight up. He was pointing where our boy Alex Lane normally sits, but I swear he could have been pointing anywhere. I swear he was pointing right at our section. It was pretty fun. I'll never forget what Eddie did. Being DFA'd is a weird thing. You could accept it. You could go down to the minor leagues. You could not accept it, end up try to clear waivers and see if anyone claims, just in the case that Blake Swihart did and ended up in Arizona for a while until he was actually DFA'd by them recently. It's kind of like having a dog or something. You just love this dog. Imagine this dog is named, we'll name him Eddie, and he's running all over the place. He's the type of dog to go to the dog park and sprint and fall over himself and face plant into the turf and ground and just roll over himself, kind of like he did in October. And then you come home one day, your good boy's not there anymore, and your parents are just he ran away. He's gone. Eddie's not here anymore. It's not like he died or anything, but he's just not going to be back for a while. He ran to, if he accepts it, ran to AAA. Could come on back up if he starts performing again. But in the case with Eddie Nunez, you see he didn't accept, and I think Alex Cora had a pretty good explanation of it, how deep like our rotation was with the second baseman position, especially with the assumption that Pedroia would be playing a lot more, even though he hasn't been. And you have Brock Holt, even had Michael Chavis there for a few games, trying to figure out where he should be playing. But just the amount of guys that we had playing second base and guys that utility players that could be playing at any time. It's just the depth, all about the depth. And you see, Alex Cora said he wasn't hitting against lefties the way we really needed him to, and it wasn't resulting in runs or hits or walks or anything. But Eduardo Nunez ended up DFA'd, clearing waivers. Not sure where he's at anymore, but DFA, not fun at all. Red Sox are in the midst of their playoff push right now. They are on their way back to they're climbing into the wild card rankings. We're currently 5.5 games out. They climbed back in the 2-game series against Colorado. Climbed a game in the second game of the series because of Oakland and Tampa Bay both losing that night as well as the Sox winning. They'll be all right. I think a bold proclamation is in place that I'm saying the Sox will make the playoffs. They will have the second wild card spot, and if they don't make playoffs, I will jump into the Boston Harbor this Thanksgiving. We'll make an event out of it or something if they don't make playoffs. But honestly, if this team doesn't make playoffs, it'd be so surprising considering how great this offense is, how great they've been playing down the stretch, especially in their last half of August. They've in their last 13 games, 10 wins. Not against great opponents, but against these NL West teams that are struggling, especially San Diego, most notably Colorado recently. And then against the Royals this month as well. They got to keep beating these teams, but we keep losing like the third game of the series, like in San Diego. That's like a 2-run game. These guys have to win these games. They have to find a way to just get on base, find something, make something happen. Because all these games are worth the exact same, and if you're not winning these ones, you're not going to make playoffs. You're not going to be there for that final push, and then we'll miss out on playoffs, and then I'll be wet from sloppy tea water. But I think the Sox, the way they've been playing, the way they've been hitting, the way the offense has been producing just look at the last 2 series alone. They are absolutely mashing. Most notably, Rafael Devers, Xander Bogaerts. Those guys are destroying the baseball right now. I think there's been on the Sox notes actually stat coming up about how these two like teammates, that could be the first teammates in baseball history, not like AL history, not baseball or not team history, but all of baseball history. They'd be the first teammates ever to combine for 30 home runs and 50 home runs apiece. And that would make baseball history because no teammates in the history of the game. Like, you'd think that there'd be some notable power duos in the past that have done that, but they would be the first ones ever, and they're on pace to do it. I think let's look at the current numbers. Xander Bogaerts is at 46 doubles and 30 home runs. He hit the 3 home runs in that series against Colorado, and then Devers added to his total as well. He's got 48 doubles, 28 home runs. So they're currently on pace to hit that mark and set that like all-time record. Braden Adams saying the Sox will make playoffs. I believe you got to make playoffs. It'd be surprising. I've been in college this is my 4th year of college. All 4 Boston teams have never missed playoffs since I've been here. I think we got to keep that streak going. Bruins have made it all 4 years I've been here, or 3 years so far. Hopefully they'll make it this year. So I'm on like 3 out of 3 for all of them. 3 out of 3, 3 different times. Bruins have made it 3 years. Celtics have made it 3 years. Patriots have made it, the last 11 years or something like that. Like, my teams don't miss playoffs. They don't miss playoffs, especially the Red Sox. These guys have won 3 straight division titles. It's definitely not promising that they're going to win it. You never know. Yankees could fall off a cliff. They're playing with a AAA team right now and still producing and still winning on this division. But I definitely think the Red Sox will have enough in them, especially with Cleveland falling out of their divisional race. I think Minnesota is probably going to win that division, just considering how well they're doing. I think I saw, I'm not sure, you have to fact check me on this one, about a statistic in Minnesota about they have 7 different players with 20-plus home runs. And I'm no baseball expert, but hitting home runs, it's the way to do it. Chicks dig the long ball. It's gonna be a fun race down the stretch. I think the loss of Jose Ramirez for the Indians, I think that's gonna be their downfall. They have their starting pitchers back. They've lost a lot of notable guys like Kluber's still down, all their aces. But if these guys are playing the same way, like they're winning 1-run games with their bullpen coming out and just being super clutch, and Carrasco had a great outing the other day. These guys will be all right. But with Joe Rams out, they said 6 to 8 weeks. With he's injured. I don't know what he's on the IL. But if they don't have him for down the stretch, I don't see Cleveland making that run. Because they were, man, you look back 2 months ago during the summer, these guys were like 11, 12 games out of first place behind the Twins, and they finally caught up. They were in first place for a handful of hours before Minnesota just grabbed that hold right back and claimed that division for their own this year. But Minnesota gonna win that division. Cleveland falling out. Hope we gotta just keep rooting for Cleveland to lose, Oakland to lose, Tampa to lose, and we may even end up with the first wild card spot. The way that works out. A's have to play the Yankees, and Rays have to play the Indians. Honestly, there is a series at the end. Alex was talking about it, how we have a 4-game series against Tampa at the end of the season, right before we play Baltimore to close out the season. And that's honestly probably going to be the most important series of the season. It's a 4-game series at Tampa Bay. That's probably going to be the make or break it point. We probably know by the start of that series how many games out the Sox are, how many games they need to win, how many games they need to root for, like Oakland to lose maybe, and they will be right back in the playoff picture as September winds down next month. They will definitely be in the playoff picture. They'll be talking about it because everyone's written us off. Everyone's told us, like, these guys, give up on them. They're not making playoffs. They're not going to go anywhere. They're in the hangover. They had the hangover all year. But they're going to come back. Don't call it a comeback, though. The Red Sox offense, historic numbers. The pitching has definitely been our downfall this season. You look at the entire thing, look at the entire season, bullpen, blowing games, blowing leads. Even in the first game against Colorado, we had to get some insurance runs because we were up 6 runs, and then Colorado comes back and hits. Nolan Arenado hits home run. They're getting singles. They're lacing them together, and we end up getting 4 runs off some errors in Colorado, and Colorado tacks those on right at the end. Our bullpen allows 4 runs in the last 2 innings of the game, which would have tied the game had they not committed the errors, which was their downfall. But the bullpen this season has been god-awful. I think a combined team ERA of something in the 4s, I would assume 4.5-ish, blowing games. But Workman has been a pleasant surprise. I mean, you go back, listen to some of the earlier podcasts about who we were thinking would be the first closer to come out of this pen and start, like, saving the Red Sox. Who's going to be the closer? And we had it, like, around the horn. We said Matt Barnes was going to be the closer for this team. But it did not work out. Like, he got in that moment. He got the first save. He blew one beforehand, I'm pretty sure, and then came out and got his first save. Like, I remember the news coming out. Craig Kimbrell wished him well and congratulated him on getting the first save because everyone assumed that he was going to be the guy. And then when he wasn't working out, they're experimenting with Brazier, even with Walden in 9th innings, and what to do in that 9th inning, what to do to set him up. Because all these guys are one-inning guys. They're not really sure which ones are going to be the clutch ones, which ones are going to be the performers coming out of the bullpen, especially come October when we are in the playoffs, about who's going to be the guy who's going to lock it down once we have a 1-run lead that we need to secure so we can win this game. And I think Brandon Workman has solidified his spot. I think he got a 9-1 saves converted, or nine wins total. He just recorded his ninth win of the season ninth save of the season in Game 2 in Colorado. Let's see. Is it true the Red Sox are calling up Bobby Dahlbeck on Sunday? I haven't heard anything about it. I wouldn't assume there's going to be a lot of September call-ups for the Red Sox. Especially Chavis is getting healthy. Chavis just hit a bomb in Pawtucket today, helping them trying to win their division. Oh, shout out, speaking of minor league baseball, shout out to the Lowell Spinners. Our boys down there just won their division. Our boys, who was it? Noah Song and Gilberto Jimenez. The Ride the Wave guys got the interview back a few weeks ago, and they just won their division. Congratulations to the Lowell Spinners short season team, single A. Let's get into the team MVP this year. I remember earlier in the season we were talking about who the MVP was early in the season, who it was like through the first month of the season and whatnot, and it was Mitch Moreland. He was our guy. He was hitting home runs. He wasn't Mitchie 2 bags anymore. He was Mitchie 4 bags. We had designated him that, and he was mashing until eventually the slump came and he got injured. He was hit the IL for a few days, and he is back now though. He's totally fine. Just that summer slump hits. The first baseman had some problems, especially with Steve Pearce, World Series MVP, just hasn't been what he was last season. That's why I think they brought him back on a 1-year deal, because they didn't know if he was going to be able to produce the same way he was in that magical October series against the Dodgers. But Rafael Devers, this kid, there's been rumors, you've heard the things about Mookie Betts and like the Red Sox might be shopping him. In winter meetings this year, they might try to get rid of Mookie Betts, try to bring in some prospects, bolster the farm system. But Rafael Devers, this kid is 22 years old, putting up MVP numbers. Get this, Rafael is 22 years old, and all like the top 5 prospects that we have in our minor league farm systems are all older than Rafael Devers is right now. He's turning 23 in October when we're still playing, of course. And he is mashing. He's hitting off best pitchers in the game. Remember his rookie, like the year before his rookie season, where he got the September call up and hit that home run off Chapman in Yankee Stadium and basically won us the game. It was like 1-0, and insane game, 2-1. I remember that. It was my sophomore year of college when he was doing that. And this kid's up here now leading the MLB in not only hits, extra base hits, total bases. He was runs scored until Mookie Betts passed him this week, and doubles. I was talking about earlier how Xander Bogaerts and Devers were going to combine for that record of having 50 home runs or 50 doubles and 30 home runs apiece. And now Devers is set up to make some money for himself, especially since he's got arbitration coming up. He's making just over $500,000 a year, which is insane, the numbers he's putting up compared to a guy on our team like JD Martinez, who's getting paid $20 million a year plus, and Devers is out here like beating him, like straight up beating him in almost every category except the home run ball, which JD's barely beating him by like 3 or 4 home runs. Rafael Devers is going to be a perennial MVP candidate. I think if he continues at the pace that he's on now, he will be in the conversation for AL MVP this year. It's very unlikely that he's going to get it. We have, over here in the American League, we have a thing called Mike Trout, and he's the only one that gets the MVP every year. And unless he's out for 60 games a year like he was last year, and Mookie Betts was able to sneak in and get that MVP after he finished in the runner-up spot the year before, he was able to secure it. And I think Devers is going to give Trout a run for his money, especially if Trout can't stay healthy, especially next year or even years afterwards. He's gonna be in Anaheim for the rest of our lives. Rest of his career, basically, and sign that super crazy extension that just broke all the baseball money records. Rafael Devers just recorded his 200th career RBI as well, setting the mark for one of the youngest players to ever do it in Red Sox history, especially considering how young he is. So Rafael Devers, perennial MVP candidate, especially. Oh, man, I keep saying especially low. If Mookie Betts does end up leaving the Red Sox, it's going to be an interesting decision on what they do with like the core of this lineup. We have Benintendi, we have Devers, we have Bogarts. JD has an option next year, but we have the core set, just set. Devers has arbitration for a few years. Xander just signed his extension. Not sure what Benny's contract details are, but he'll be involved in it. But if in the case that JD was to opt out, the Red Sox would be able to part ways with that contract, and that's an expensive contract. $28 million a year is not an easy one to keep on the books, especially with Mookie's coming up, who, after you see all the offseason last year with Arenado and Trout and Harper and Machado and all these guys getting paid, Mookie Betts is going to demand a lot of money. He's going to be heavily sought after on the free agency market, and I wouldn't be surprised if either him or JD were not on the team next year, especially with the turnover. If this team were to not make playoffs, they might look elsewhere and see where else they might fit in the system, where else they might have a chance to get another championship, and where else might Mookie make the most money, if that's what he's thinking about right now. And then we wouldn't have the triple Bs in that outfield, the elite of the elite. But like I said, the lineup is set for a few more years. They've got these guys for a lot longer, and we're going to be all right. Looking ahead at the Red Sox upcoming schedule, down the stretch, it's not going to be easy to sneak into that wild card spot. Fangraphs has got us at a 9.8% chance to make playoffs at this current moment in time. That's going to be a 100% in 3 weeks. Book it. So Red Sox currently playing in Anaheim. They're going to Anaheim today. Got an off day today. Got to hang out with family, hang out at the beach. Pretty California. You love that crap. And then, so I think the Red Sox should be able. They have to sweep. They have to sweep 2-3 of the series that they have coming up in order to get back in contention, get in the talks. Once they get that confidence back, I think they've already got that confidence back. But to keep getting that and keep moving forward throughout the season and close out the season on a high note. And don't let this team get hot. This team got hot in San Diego, and it's still going. This team is absolutely cooking right now. Burn yourself if you look at them. They are red hot. Devers, Bogarts, JD Martinez, these guys are lighting it up right now with offensive numbers, and they will make your team starter look awful. So the 3 games in Anaheim, must wins. Anaheim's not doing so hot this season. You got to win the games against the guys that aren't in like contention anymore. The 3 games in Minnesota, they're going to be the challenging ones. That's a division leader, division most likely winner at this rate. If you can steal 1, 2, if they could sweep, that'd be the best case scenario, of course. But realistically, getting 2 wins in Minnesota is what the Red Sox are going to look to do. But after that. So that's a homestand. So after the Anaheim series, the Red Sox are coming home to play Minnesota and New York Yankees. The 4-game series against New York is going to be a challenge. Yankees should already have locked up the division by then. If I'm looking at like magic number stuff correctly, they're pretty far ahead. If they keep winning and Tampa falls off a few more games, they should have the AL East locked up in the next coming days, which is sad moment for Sox fans. Is we've had the crown in the AL East for the last 3 years. It's kind of crazy. It's never happened before, and it never went back to back, and we went 3-peat on them in a division with the Rays and Baltimore and Toronto and New York, and these just the hardest division in baseball at some points, unless you look at NL Central, which is just a crapshoot. But the 4-game series against New York, you have to split it. You got to go 2-2. You got to stay in contention. You got to win the divisional games. You're not going to creep up on all the wild card teams if you're not splitting these series, if you're not winning a series, if you're losing all these ones again like they did at the beginning of the season. You can just call it quits, and the Red Sox season is over. If the Yankees sweep the Red Sox, the season is over. They will be eliminated, out of contention at that point, unless God willing, all the other teams, Tampa, Oakland, and Cleveland, are all losing too and all getting swept. You don't see that out of those teams. Those teams are great clubs, great teams, great offenses, great pitching staffs, especially in Oakland. Those guys are just no one projected Oakland to do exactly what they did last year, and they're going to win 90-plus games, and they're going to sneak into the wild card, and it'll be fun. It'll be another AL East matchup. We might even be visiting Oakland, similar how to the Yankees almost did last year. After that Minnesota Yankees series, the Red Sox go on a 5-game road trip, 6 days, off day in Philly. They go to Toronto for 3 games. It should be all right there. Definitely win 2 out of 1 up there, or 2 and 1, win 2 out of 3 against the young Blue Jays who are up and coming. They got a lot of talent. You keep seeing these guys on the news about Bo Bichette and Vlad Guerrero, these guys that are just raking up there. So they should win 2 out of 1 or 2 out of 3 in Toronto, and then go down to Philly and see Bryce Harper and the Phillies as they try to fight for playoff contention. They should be eliminated by then as well. And then the Red Sox are back at home for one more home stand before the end of the season against San Francisco. 3-game series. You got to win that. You got to win that, and that'll be fun because Carl Yastrzemski's son will be coming to town, young Yaz, as they say, and then Pablo Sandoval will be in town. So definitely be there to boo him at Fenway, because F that guy. I still can't believe that contract. There was someone at the Colorado game yesterday wearing a Red Sox Pablo Sandoval jersey, and I couldn't believe it. That was the first jersey I got when I was first spring training game I went to in Florida. I got the Panda 48 jersey and burned it. Had to burn it 2 years later because that was just awful contracts. But back on track. After the 3-game homestand against San Francisco, the Red Sox finish their last road trip of the season, the most important road trip of the season. They go to Tampa Bay for a 4-game series that could make or break their playoff hopes. That'll be the week they lock in or are eliminated from playoffs. The 7 games on the road, 4 games in Tampa Bay, 3 games in Texas, and then the Red Sox finish their season the best way any team could. Get ready for playoffs. You play in AAA Baltimore comes to Fenway, and we'll go start raking against them. Even if the Sox are a game out of first place or a game out of the wild card contention for that last series, the Red Sox should sweep Baltimore if they come to Fenway and the Red Sox are fighting for their playoff lives, and they know that if they win these 3 games against Baltimore at Fenway in front of the home crowd, fighting for like these become playoff games, they will win those games. They will have their bet. Like David Price could be healthy by then. Rick Porcello will be good to go. Eddie will be good to go. Those guys will be all right, especially come the playoff push, especially what they're in right now. They got to keep grinding. They got to keep mashing. They got to keep hitting their pitches, and they'll be okay. They will be okay. The Red Sox will be in the 2019 playoffs, and especially wild card. I think my prediction right now is that Oakland will have the first wild card spot, and that the Red Sox will be traveling to Oakland for the one game series, winner take all against Oakland, and whoever wins that game will be playing the New York Yankees in the divisional round. It could be crazy, especially since the Red Sox and Yankees met in the divisional round for the first time in the rivalry's history. It's always been in ALCS, and for the first time last year it was in the divisional round. You can see it repeating itself this year. The Red Sox travel to New York and take them on in the divisional round. We'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But story time was in Colorado this week for the 2-game series against the Rockies. Red Sox travel to Coors Field in Denver for the first time in 5 years. 5 years it's been since they were there. But I definitely like the way the scheduling works now in the MLB. Very similar to how the NFL, you'll play like conference out of conference schedule, and then the Red Sox or baseball now has like the interleague play where AL division will visit NL division, vice versa, and they'll just kind of rotate, and it goes about every 3 years or so, and every 6 years you'll have a home game with every team. Great for the traveling fans, great for the transplanted fans like myself, not in Mass anymore. But great stadium. I got the chance to visit Coors Field for the second time and went to both games of the series. Absolute blast to go to that. I wrote a recap piece. If you go to the ridethewavemedia.com, it'd be the first article up on there. It's the one about the Red Sox sweeping the Colorado Rockies like it's 2007 World Series. Bazing. But great stadium. I would rank it. Coors Field is a beautiful place. Great skyline. If you're sitting in the outfield and looking at like looking at the infield, you got the Denver skyline right behind the stadium. And if you're in the box section, if you're sitting behind home, if you're sitting in the infield, you got the Rocky Mountain view in left field, and then the right field view, you got the rooftop and all the bars up top. And especially a cool thing about Coors Field, you see if you watch the story on Instagram, they have this purple line in the nosebleed seats that goes probably like 20 rows up in the nosebleed section, just purple line in like all the green seats. It's this purple line of seats, and it's like above sea level. It's 5,280 feet above sea level, and that marks like a mile high. Like Denver's the mile high city, and that's what it's like. That's what it's known for. The altitude, the ball flies well. You saw that with Jackie Bradley's home run. I was sitting with one of my friends in the outfield when Jackie Bradley steps up. Like, yeah, that's almost a guaranteed out at this rate. You don't even have to pitch. You don't have to pitch around this guy. Like, he'll probably ground out, strike out, one of the two. You don't have to worry about him. And what does Jackie do? He goes and proves me way wrong. I'm sitting dead center field, and Jackie cranks this first pitch bomb to right field. And where I'm sitting, this ball just went up and up and up and was not coming down. It hit the rooftop section. It hit the third deck at Coors Field, which was absolutely insane. I saw probably the two longest home runs I've ever seen watching baseball this season. I saw Max Muncy hit a 440-footer that I thought was the longest one I'd ever see, and then I get to see Jackie Bradley Jr., honestly the worst. I would argue the worst hitter in the Red Sox starting rotation. I don't think there'd be a lot of people to disagree. Like, he's there for his defense, but he hits the 478-foot bomb in Coors Field. The air's thinner up there and less oxygen to fly through, I guess. Jackie cranks this thing and it bounces. I watched the video of it. You can't even see where the ball is when like the Nesson cameras are on it, because the ball's so high that the guy doesn't even know where to put the camera. It's out of view, and then the ball hits and bounces down right in front of Charlie Blackmon in right field, and the place is going nuts. That, like, everyone knows, like, that thing was launched. This thing was an absolute nuke in Coors Field. But other than that, Coors Field, great place. Doors open like 2 hours beforehand. A lot of Red Sox fans just took over the place. You look down the left field line, which is where the visitors' dugout is, just red, white, some navy in there, just red and white everywhere. Red Sox fans took over the place, and they swept like it was 2007. And Dustin Pedroia visited the team. He got back, started spending more time with the team, flew into Denver for the second game of the series, and was like basically took a bench coach role essentially since he's been injured the last few I almost said years, but honestly since the Machado incident, he hasn't been the same since. Played 9 games since 2017, since Poppy's last games against Cleveland, and he was in there coaching up. He was walking on a crutch, and Rafael just coaching up Rafael Devers because he was slumping. And he was like 0 for 15 since Game 2 in San Diego. And he's like, you find the video of it, you see Rafael just like watching, just like eyes locked on Dustin Pedroia, and Pedroia's just like showing him how to swing, showing him like an adjustment he can make when he's at bat. And Devers took it immediately in his next at bat, and on the second pitch roped a triple down the right field line, I think. And it stand-up triple in his first at-bat since PD was coaching him up in the dugout. And it's just a special thing to see, like, still the love that PD has for this team. Like, he'll be like the Kobe Bryant, Derek Jeter type. He's going to spend every moment of his career with the Red Sox. He's on contract until 2021. It's really hard to imagine PD playing another game. Maybe if he's healthy next year to like lace him up one last time, similar to Ichiro, play one game and hang him up, just retire a Red Sox. He'll get that 15 up on the board for sure, especially what he did in the 2007 series against Colorado, AL Rookie of the Year, MVP in 2008. He'll go down in Red Sox lore forever. It's actually one of our questions of the day from Brendan Alexander. What will happen to Petey? Kind of like what I was saying. He's on the books for 2 more years. He won't play again this season. If he's lucky, he'll play. I would guess 1 more game, maybe get 1 at bat, see what he can do. Honestly, if I was Petey, you know, like if you only got so long left, you're gonna hang it up at I would play him for an entire series. Let him get 9 at bats in. And whenever he gets like that single, whenever he gets like a double, whenever he gets that last hit of his career that he knows is going to be like it, hang him up. Once you get that like last hit of your career, like or get on base, get that hit, let that be the last one. Like you don't want to end on a strikeout or anything or a walk. It's just boring, or a ground out. You want to go down swinging. You want to go down with a hit. You want to go down with something that Red Sox fans can remember and say, especially when he does it at Fenway, that was Petey's legacy. Like that was it's not going to be a pretty one at the end of it, especially with the injury, the knee problem that he's had, which is just absolutely heartbreaking. But Petey will go down in Red Sox lore. Petey will be, I think, after like this contract's over, once he does officially decide to retire from the sport of baseball as a player, he will absolutely 100% be a coach in the Red Sox dugout, in that clubhouse, because just seeing what he was able to do with Devers, what he is with the guys, he is a pure leader. That guy deserves to be in the dugout. He needs to be involved in baseball. That guy's not going to leave this early. It's age 34, age 35 season. You can't give up on him yet. Petey, I'm a firm believer he will make an appearance in at least 1, 2, 3 more games at max before he hangs it up and calls it quits and retires to the dugout and stays there as a bench coach, as a hitting coach, as a special assistant, something like Big Poppy's doing, something like Kevin Youkilis is doing. Just a guy that can still be in the clubhouse, still be an influence on all the young guys and show them the ropes, show them what it means to be a professional. Especially since he did it at such a young age. But yeah, rest in peace, Petey's career. We love you, Petey. Last question comes from Mr. Gibbles. Say what to the what do you say to the bandwagoners that have counted out the Red Sox? I say F them. They weren't riding the wave, man. They weren't with us. The guys that like hopped on the wagon of following the Red Sox, like, yeah, they're my AL team. They're the team that's gonna win the entire series. They won 100+ games last year. They won I watched them win the World Series. Like hopping on that wagon is super, super easy. But when the tough times come, especially like this year, the exhilaration, the excitement, the downturns, losing 5 straight games, losing 10 straight series to start the season. It's hard to follow those teams sometimes, but that's how you'll figure out who the real fans are, the guys that are sticking with them through thick and thin, through the rough years, from the first to worst years. But even better than the first to worst is the worst to first years, which the Red Sox have done plenty of times, especially like 2013. But you just want to see that continued consistency. The Red Sox, they haven't shown that a lot until recent years when they won the division 3 straight years. And looks like that streak's going to come to an end, but definitely the bandwagoners, this is a good year, good season to weed weed them out, natural selection, get them out of here. If you're not with us in the bad times, why would you be with us in the fun times when we're celebrating? But yeah, Coors Field, one last thing, beautiful place, definitely recommend it. If you guys are ever out west, visit Coors Field, get yourself to San Diego, visit all these ballparks. Coors is my 13th ballpark I've been to. Just absolutely stunning. I put it in top 3. Just absolutely beautiful atmosphere. And also, pro tip, shout out man's dude from our MLS team at Ride the Wave. He let me know, he lives in Denver now, about on the rooftop deck where Jackie Bradley hit that massive home run. Before the first pitch, they have $3 beers up there, and that is the place to be pregame. You get like a 4-ounce Coors, but it just makes pregame a lot better. Waiting around, watching some BP. The Red Sox did have an off day before the series in Colorado, so they were taking some batting practice beforehand, and just seeing all the Red Sox fans fill up the outfield was crazy. They filled up all the left fields. There's not much of a right field area. It's mostly their bullpen, and they have like a fountain in center field. But when the gates open, like fans just streaming out towards the visitor dugout so they could try and get an autograph. I don't think many of the guys were signing. I think Brock Holt was signing a few people's things. Couldn't tell from too far off. I was hanging out at the rooftop before the game started, so definitely recommend Coors Field. I'd put it top 3 in ballparks I've been to. I haven't been to them all. I definitely want to get to the Crown. Want to get to Oakland. Gotta plan our ride the wave hot corner trips for next year for this upcoming season. Maybe even get out back to Boston for the playoff push, for the wild card push, and see what the Sox can do. Well, this has been the Hot Corner. Sox in 4. Ride the wave media, baby. If you ain't with us, you ain't riding the wave. You don't hop back on. It comes and goes in waves. You got to be with us in the bad times. Enjoy the good ones. Shout out 1 in 100. Shout out Lowell Spinners for winning your division. And just challenging the Red Sox. They got to keep pushing. Hopefully next week we'll have all the guys back, and we'll get to do some What the Eck. So that segment that I brought towards the end of my run before the summer, that I don't think they kept up with during the my time off, but we'll bring back What the Eck, where we have Dennis Eckersley quotes and figure out who the heck he's talking about. But yeah, my name's Brandon. This is MLB Sox in 4, brought to you by Hot Corner and Ride the Wave Media, as well as 1 in 100. Let's go Sox. Finish that playoff push. See you guys.